As a trial lawyer, I see people praying outside the courtrooms all the time. I just came back from a trial. I won it, got a jury verdict in 34 minutes flat. Uh, you know, when you think about when Jesus says those very fearful words, Matthew, I think it's 7:21-23, where he says, "Depart from me, I never knew you." He also says, "You doers of lawlessness or doers of iniquity." And that to me would mean that you're also committing sin, and because you're not following his commandments. But the idea that you have to love God with all your heart, all your mind, all your strength ties to "I never knew you," because when you look at the Greek verb that's being translated new actually means a very intimate relationship. So do you have an intimate relationship with God? Do you have an intimate relationship with Christ? Are you doing the rosary every day, which is a powerful spiritual weapon? Jesus himself said that fasting and prayer are very powerful. And the reason is because we live in a spiritual world, and now you're sending out spiritual signals when you pray, which obviously Jesus did quite a lot. Now, there's a story in the Bible that rings true to trusting God with all your heart, all your strength, and all your mind. And it's in the Old Testament during the days of Isaiah. And it was the King Hezekiah who, was the leader, the king of Judah. And now you've got the Assyrian army knocking on their door, demanding that they surrender. King Hezekiah paid them a lot of money. They used the term talents, which, remember, Jesus talked about talents. A talent is basically a truckload of money. And as you see the transformation here from King Hezekiah, it goes from paying and appeasement to not wanting to pay, listening to Isaiah's prophecy about how they're not going to be destroyed. And I think he said there won't be one ladder raised against the walls, to completely trusting in God to deliver salvation and freedom. And of course, the Assyrian king was mocking them because whatever gods these other towns believed in, I conquered them. So what's your God going to do for you? And there was this effort to demoralize the Jewish people into thinking that their God doesn't really help them. But Isaiah stood strong, and the king's transformation from making God the center point of his protection. And if I remember correctly, in the Bible, the king actually read the terms of surrender in the inner sanctum of the temple. So here you have this back and forth, so that there is this intimate level of connection where God gets to really know you and you're invoking his protection. I see people in court praying all the time, and it's almost like the time they start to pray is the really first time they've ever really thought of Jesus. Now he's kind of like a doting grandfather in the background, but now I need him. That's not really a relationship. And that's just a one-sided, what can you do for me kind of thing. Remember, we're supposed to be loving and serving him, not having him as the get out of free jail card. But he also says that what you ask for in his name, he will deliver for you. That doesn't mean you won't have problems in this world. Jesus talks about that too, how you'll be refined through the fire, which will be considered a trial by fire. The harder the experiences are that you face, if you apply them correctly, you develop wisdom and you become a better, stronger person. And you can't get that if everything is easy to you. But the point of this video is that king went from trusting himself to settle the problem to believing in God will solve the problem. And his trust in God is what got him out of trouble, not lukewarm, his full trust. Start the day by thanking Christ for the day. Consider saying the rosary every day. I didn't used to do that. Now I do. It's very powerful. It's a direct connection. It's got the Lord's Prayer in it. I mean, I think you say it like 6 times. And when people say, well, you're praying to Mary, actually, we don't worship her. They'd love to say that about us. There is nothing in the Bible, nothing that I saw in Jesus's teachings that prohibit you from asking someone to pray on your behalf. And Mary is the great intercessor. And she is a fountain of mercy. Anyway, I hope this video was helpful to you. And remember, put Christ first and love him like he loves you. Thank you.